Well, hello and good evening. This is John, and welcome to our brand new show here on Quiet Gentleman. The show tonight is going to be an interesting take and portion of the RPG community. We're going to start focusing on games that you can play by yourself. That means that right now, while many of us are still in social isolation, can't get out, a lot of the game stores, their game rooms are shut down, you can't go out and play. And while there is the opportunity to play on great, things out there like Roll20 Network and a few others, there is this desire, this need for gaming where sometimes you don't have access to people. And for the last few years, a couple companies have been putting out some games that I like to almost think of as, uh, I guess, roll your own adventure. That's a good way to put it. And it's an entire adventure written out and designed for you to play by yourself without a GM. Now, there are shows out there that kind of tackle this already. I think there is Me, Myself, and a Die is a show that deals with improv levels of solo play. There are some tools out there that allow you to run yourself through a dungeon, but it really doesn't deal with some of the role play aspects unless you are incredibly good as a method and improv actor and have a really good imagination. I'd like to think I have a good imagination, but at the same time, sometimes you want somebody to run a game for you. And that is why this is here. So tonight we're going to be playing a special game. It's going to be called Cthulhu, and we're going to be doing their adventure, which is, let me pull it up here, Alone Against the Flames. So they actually have a series of these adventures currently right now up on Drive Through RPG that you can go through and play by yourself, and I highly recommend them. I think this one is an introductory adventure that is 100% free. So, great chance for everybody to get in and play the game. Now, beyond that, there are other companies that do this, and we're going to be touching on that probably next show. There are two adventures right now from Ulysses Spiel for their Dark Eye fantasy game. And I'm really intrigued about those because those will be more to the style of being by yourself. So I think that's an interesting concept and something that we can really play into doing a show like this is the idea of a RPG that takes advantage of the fact that you're by yourself. And hence, another part of this isolation kind of motif. So, without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and get this game started up. I do like to use some tools in my kit to go ahead and, you know, improve, I guess, the scene. At least that's my opinion. I myself, I like a lot of audio and music in my backgrounds, and one of the tools that I love to use is a very small program that you can find out there called DMDJ. The creator of it has moved on from the program. He is now doing sound design for, I believe, TV shows in Italy right now and things like that. But I find it to be a really good and simple program that anybody can use. So this is it right here. Lets me move between that. Oh, sounds are loud. I guess someone in the chat that's telling me my sounds are loud. So how about now? Is that any better? Hopefully that's a little better. Yeah, there we go. All right. Sometimes I wish there was a better monitoring solution for this system so that you can have a better idea what your people are hearing without a whole lot of feedback and everything else. But you get what you get, right? So, tonight's game, Alone Against the Flames. I do have my setup out here. I have my different dice trays with dice, the books in case I need to reference them. For the most part, I understand that all I need is a blank character sheet going into this. Part of this game is that we're going to get to make a character as we go, which I think is a neat idea as well. So, Alone Against the Flames, solo adventure for Call of Cthulhu 7th edition rules by Gavin Inglis and cover by Peter Stovic. And it's an official one by Chaosium. So I'm going to scroll on down. We're going to skip the intro. I've taken a look at it, and we're going to go right into the adventure. On the cover of the adventure, it has a ticket. It says, Ramen and Costello, Plymouth, New Hampshire coach line. Ticket number 0828. And this is where we will go ahead and begin our tale. The sun is high in the sky, a merciless ball of heat. You feel scorched by the time you reach the bus halt in front of Osborne's drugstore. It's a relief to put down your heavy cases and take off your hat for a moment. You fan your face. It's been a long summer here in your hometown, and yet a curiously empty one. You look across the street at the grubby butcher's shop, the grocer's with its faded awning, and the shabby tobacconist. Mistrustful faces glare at you as they pass, eyeing your clothes and your luggage. It was your parents' choice to live here, not yours. You were happy down south as a child, among Providence's white wall houses and leafy churchyards. Perhaps this new job in Arkham will supply the change you need. Yet everybody you know in the world lives here. You know nobody in Arkham, not one soul. You ask yourself one last time if you're doing the right thing. The answer is here. None of your supposed friends have come to see you off. You are alone. Whatever challenges lie in Arkham, it will be a new life and a brave one. A small gray motor coach approaches and rattles to a stop. You put your hat back on and pick up your cases. And it says go to entry 263. And this is where it kind of takes on kind of a little bit of that feel of a choose your own adventure book, but this is more of a roll your own adventure. So entry 263. Two young men with sullen expressions alight from the coach. One looks you up and down before heading away. The driver also steps down, glancing at you before crossing the road to visit the tobacconist. When he returns, he is rolling a cigarette between his yellowed fingers. He gives it a final twist and examines you as he reaches for his matchbox. He is a thin man in his 50s, dressed in a stained shirt with the bus company emblem. Yet his eyes are sharp in their dark sockets. Where to? You show him your ticket from Ossipee. From there you will connect to Rochester and Portsmouth, before the coastline to Newburyport, and finally Arkham. You should be able to afford a rail ticket for at least some of the way. Otherwise, this will be the first of many long bus trips. The driver scratches the match and lights his cigarette. The end flares as he takes a draw. Then he exhales and gestures to the back of the coach. Luggage rack's up there. At this point it says, look at your investigator sheet. At the top you have a space for 8 characteristics. Strength, constitution, power, dexterity, appearance, size, intelligence, and education. Allocate the following values to them, writing in each square beside each: 40, 50, 50, 50, 60, 60, 70, 80. If you'd like a little bit more information, they'd say you can look at the quick start rules. So if you've ever played Call of Cthulhu, this is a interesting part of the game that, a lot, when you play it, you're not going to be in a situation like this. You are literally going to have a character already made going in, and a lot can happen to you. And so choosing what your stats go into can be kind of an interesting process, because what do you want to be? Are you going to be a bruiser with high strength, dexterity, and constitution? I mean, those are the things that are going to help you fight and survive fighting. But this is the world of Call of Cthulhu, and being able to fist fight doesn't necessarily mean you're going to be able to take on the supernatural out there. There are things that if you bump up all those other stats, now all of a sudden your sanity is going to be lower, and you're really going to regret that. I can tell you that pretty much from my most recent playthrough. My character is one of the first characters in our other game, which is Illuminated Page here on Quiett Gentleman. and he's out. He's one of the first characters out due to sanity loss. So, do I want to be a character who's much more book smart? Is that what I'm going to go for? Or do I want to go for a character who can talk their way out of trouble? So, this is, what it is. We're going to put these stats in. This game is based on rolling a D100 most of the time. The only time that it's not going to be that, percentile dice. Oh, and somebody points out, Matt over there points out, but it took me 13 episodes for me to get knocked out. So, yeah, it took a good while. But, goodness, I should have been out a while ago, either from combat or from loss of sanity. I was going down so quickly. But, yeah, that's part of the game. I myself, oh. I just found out it's not Matt. It is Roxy. Roxy's also on the chat account and she's watching, so thank you. So, let's see. I like to play a character that can pretty much talk their way out of things. That's more my area of what I feel comfortable doing. And so I'm going to make a character at this point based more on that. So, things that play into that, I think, let's go with the 80 for my intelligence. I'm going to go with a 70, then the 170 I get will go into my appearance. I don't want to be completely useless if we end up in a combat situation or something where this is going to play into it. So let's go 60 in my strength, 60 in my dex. Now three or four traits are left. We got constitution, size, education, and power. I like playing small people. Let's go ahead and make sure that my size is a 40. Well, let's go completely at the low end with 40 in my size. And we got 3 50s left, so that means I put a 50 into my con, a 50 in my education, and a 50 in my power. So yeah, that's where my character is starting off at for now. All right. So after I've allotted all this, I am going to go ahead and move over to entry number 8, and that's where we're going. Aha. So entry number 8. The driver smokes and watches as you drag your case to the back of the motor coach. The rack is set inconveniently high on the vehicle. You get a grip on the heavier case. If your size is 40, go to number 23. And if your size is higher than that, go to number 38. So we're going to start off. I chose being small, so size 40. Go to number 23. Let's see what happens. Entry number 23. You struggle for a few seconds before the driver comes up beside you and lends a hand, still puffing on his cigarette. Heavy bags for a small one, he remarks. You judge it best to respond with a simple thanks. So now we go to entry number 233. The driver flicks his cigarette into the gutter and steps into the motor coach. Its engine coughs into life. You board, grateful that you will be the only passenger for the initial part of your trip at least. With mixed emotion, you watch from the windows as the tired avenues of your old home slip behind you, receding into the distance. For a few minutes you can still see the church spire over the brow of a low hill. Then the road dips and it too is gone. Arkham is your new home. You will travel there and make a new start. Alright, so now we get more character information as we build up our character. You will see 2 smaller boxes to the right of each characteristic value. Half each value rounding down, and write this result in the upper right box. Okay, I'm going to stop right there and I'm going to go ahead and do that. So that means my upper right box for strength is a 30. For constitution is a 25. For size is a 20. Dexterity is a 30. Appearance is a 35. Education is a 25. Intelligence is a 40. And power is a 25. Okay, so I got that part done. Also divide each value by 5, again rounding down, and write this result in the lower right box. We will use those numbers later. So dividing by 5, oh boy. So 12 for my strength, 10 for my con, that would be 8 for my size, that would be 12 again for my dexterity, my appearance would be 14, education would be 10, and intelligence would be 16, and power would be 10. Okay. So we will use these numbers later, and in the strip below, you will see tracks that record sanity and magic points. Beginning sanity is equal to your original power. Oh, great. So my sanity is going to be 50. Yeah, because that's where my power is. So my sanity, 50. And beginning magic points are the same as the value you've just assigned for power divided by 5. So my magic points are 10. Okay. So mark these on the track and then go to entry 134. Alright, so number 134, we have the coach putters through the countryside. At first, the interior is stifling, and your stomach lurches with every bend in the road. However, the driver opens his window, and by switching seats, you find a spot where the breeze hits your face. You soon relax into the journey, observing the quaint little hamlets that the coach serves. A heavy-set woman boards at one settlement and gives you a polite nod. She gets off at the next one. The road rises a little, passing cornfields and orchards. The leaves are turning and the trees are alive with glorious reds and golds. You have just begun to doze when the driver takes a tight bend at speed. Interesting. Okay, so with that, we are going to do some more with our character sheet. It says, add your size and con together, and then divide by 10, rounding down. So my size and my con together, so that's 40. Con is 50, so total is 90. And then divide by 10, so that is 9, rounding down. This is the starting value of your hit points. So I have 9 hit points starting. Fun. Gotta love it when they do it this early in the in the thing where you're going to worry about your hit points. Mark it on your investigator's sheet. Your current total may drop, but it is unlikely to exceed the starting value. You also have a luck score. Roll 3d6. 3 6-sided dice. We call this 3d6. If you are new to role-playing, you can read more about it. Okay, so 3d6. I have my dice here. I'm just going to roll this 3 times. First one was a 4. Second one was a 4. So that's 8. Third one was a 6. Gotta love it. So 4, 4, and 6. So that's 14. Let's see. And then it said we'll apply a 3d6 rolled by 5 to get your beginning luck. So I said that was 14 times 5, which is 70. I'm feeling lucky. I often wonder if I did luck wrong on my previous character sheet. That'd be hilarious. It'd explain a lot too. So 3d6 by 5, beginning luck score, and mark it. Now you must make a roll against your dexterity, rolling a d100. So obviously when this guy turned this turn, we're going to see what happened. So I rolled a 24. This means rolling 2 10-sided dice and using one value for the 10s and one for the units. So if you rolled equal to your dex or less, you passed. If you rolled greater than your dex, you failed. You may be tempted to skip such role and simply pretend you always pass, but Call of Cthulhu is a game of mystery and horror. The terrible disasters that can befall your character are part of the fun. You will not necessarily have more fun if you pass every roll, and boy is that true. So, with a 24 and my dexterity is a 60, I definitely passed. So it says go to page 261. Alright, so 261. A desperate yell awakens you. You feel yourself slide from the seat as the driver spins the wheel and the motor coach plunges off the road. You grab hold of the seat in front, just in time to prevent a painful fall. The coach stops with a thump. Now you see what has happened. A Fordson tractor had stopped in the road, and your driver has had to swerve to avoid this steel obstacle. He leaps from his seat into the road, unleashing a string of curses at the farmer. You take a moment to catch your breath. Perhaps you should offer assistance, but the driver has already returned. He backs the coach up a little and threads it around the tractor, glaring at the farmer. So we now go to entry number 71. You resume your journey. The driver takes the curves with more caution than before. He glances over his shoulder at you a couple of times. Sorry about that, he says. That fellow was dumber than a hog. I'm Silas. What's your name? The accident was at least as much Silas's fault as the farmer's. But it doesn't seem shrewd to antagonize the man while he is driving through the middle of nowhere. Make up a name for your character and record it on your investigator sheet. You may add your age for the purposes of this adventure to your character. They should be probably between 23 and 36. So, let's make him young. He's small and young. He's 23 years old. He is male. And I don't know if I'm ever going to play this character again. I'm terrible at names. Boy. Should I give him a good name? Or should I just call him something simple? You know, he's going to Arkham and everything else. We're just gonna go ahead and we'll just name him Bob. You know, so nice, easy, simple, and not at all reminding me of my previous character. Alright. So, the coach turns onto a narrow road, which weaves uphill through woodland. Silas becomes chatty. Going to Arkham, eh? Can't say I ever heard of the place. Went to Boston once. Didn't like it. Too much hustle and bustle. You got family there? A special someone waiting? The afternoon is wearing on. You see no harm in confiding in Silas about your new life. A job, eh? What's your line? So choose an occupation from your character from the following options. Nice. Oh, I have been given a name by chat. And chat says my name is now Gentry McMillan. Or Genty. Gentry? Why not? A lot of honks out in this countryside, but that didn't change the sounds. I know that just changing it to drive through the countryside, I don't know how long this was going to last, but I'll change it when we get to something a little bit more. So, Gentry McMillan. And choose an occupation. Wow. Am I going to be an antiquarian, a doctor of medicine, a journalist, a private investigator, or a professor? Huh. You know, I don't think private investigator. Too young for that. Professor or journalist, really. We've had professors before. Maybe I'll go with a journalist. Let's really dive into this mystery, because I'm by myself. I gotta have a reason to look into everything, right? So let's go 239. So my occupation is going to be journalist. You mentioned the reporter's job, which you secured at the Arkham Gazette. on the strength of a few freelance pieces in your local newspaper. It will be a relief to get away from vapid society columns and whimsical stories. You understand the Gazette covers everything from the breakthroughs of research at Miskatonic University to the most sordid exploits of local ne'er-do-wells. It should be something to get your teeth into at any rate. A writer for a newspaper. Silas seems confused, as if he thought the stories somehow wrote themselves. Your credit rating skill is 20. So credit rating, 20. Your occupation skills are arts, craft, photography, history, library use, own language, psychology, and one other: charm, fast talk, intimidate, or persuade. And now you may also pick 2 other skills except Cthulhu Mythos as personal specialties. And allocate the following values. So they give you values again for your percentages going in. Cool. And it's essentially the same as before, except for one extra one. So I'm going to be I'm going into being a journalist. I think that for journalism, I'm going to need. Actually, I'm going to say that this is going to be some weird ones. I think I need persuade up front. Like persuade is. Ooh. And I forgot, this is a game where own language also plays into it because it tells you how good a writer you could be. Oh, that's a tough one now because, like I said, reporter. You know, we'll go 70 with persuade because I want to be able to talk people into telling me their stories. I am then going to go with my high skills. I'm going to use language own because I want people to think I'm a great writer. And I get another 60, so this is going to be the tough one. Library use, history, or psychology. Let's go psychology. Psychology could be fun. Psychology is not just the field of interest, but it's also reading other people. And yeah, that one comes in handy a lot. So we'll go 60 in psychology. And let's go 50. Yeah, psychology is great for insight checks. Absolutely. So we're going to go with, I think we're going to go, library use is going to be a 50. I need to be able to research. We're going to go history at a 50 as well. And then we'll also go art, craft, photography at a 50 because I probably work by myself. And a photo can go a long way telling a story. So then we have, oh, I get, yeah, 2 40s. So, and these are the ones that I can pick where they go. All right. So, reporter. Do I want to be the kind of reporter that's out to get in trouble? You know, and this is some interesting stuff here. So, I think I need a 40. Let's do it. Let's have some fun. We're gonna. My guy wants to be kind of that gonzo who gets the story behind the scenes, willing to do anything for that story. So let's go 40 for stealth. He likes to sneak around and listen in on people. And that right there tells me the other part. I want a 40 and listen. Now those could probably not even play into this adventure at all, but we'll see. I think those would be good choices. All right, so now we go to page 128. So, you realize Silas hasn't made a stop since the incident with the tractor. The motor coach winds its way uphill. However, your thoughts are interrupted as the road crests a ridge, and you are treated to a magnificent view of the vista below. A creek snakes through the valley, breaking the rich autumn palette of the tree line. In the distance, the white mountains rise into a hazy cloud. There is no settlement, not even a cabin as far as the eye can see. Birds drift through the treetops, and you can just make out what might be a 2 white-tailed deer lingering by the water. Perhaps you are making a mistake by moving to the city. Could you survive on your own in the lush wilderness? You have a base ability in most skills. Listed in brackets after your skill name on the investigator's sheet. For instance, you have a base ability in most skills. Okay, so yeah. For instance, you have a 20 in climb and a base dodge equal to half your dex. So it's telling us about, if you've ever seen the character sheets, there's these little brackets and the percentages on them give you an idea of skills that your character has access to. I kind of like this because even if you aren't trained in some of these skills, there's a base roll that you can always make. So that's very, very useful. So choose 4 skills which are not your occupation skills. And these cannot be Cthulhu Mythos for those of you who've played the game before. These are your personal interest skills. You can boost each of these by 20. So, yeah. Boost each one by 20. And not occupation. So, let's see. Some of these are really smart to have. I'm a country boy, but I think that I've also had to fight my way out of a few things, so I'm going to go ahead and go Fighting Brawl and boost that by 20. Let's see. Other good ones. Maybe I could survive out here in the wilderness if I had to. Maybe maybe I am a country boy. Yeah, let's go with that. So, Natural World, we'll go ahead and go 30. So I have a little bit of understanding of that. And how many of these did I get? 4 skills. So I've done 3 now, right? I did Fighting. I've done, what was the other one I did? I think I get one more. Yeah, navigate. Yeah, let's do Navigate. So 30, 30. Okay, and one more. So that's 3 right there. So one more. And we'll go Survival. So I have a 30 in Survival. Why not? All right. At this point, you may like to calculate half and 1/5 values for each skill in just the same way you did previously. Remember to round down. So half, 25, 10, 5, 30, Fighting Brawl, we go with 22. I'm just going to do the halves for now. I don't want to take too much time doing this. All right. So now we're going to entry. Oh, there's a chart in the book. I should use the book. So, what can I say? I didn't this time. Y'all can look it up for me, right? So we're going to page or entry number 144. Hey, you know what? Let's go ahead. We've been on this this ride for a while. Let's go ahead and pull up a different sound set. There we go. How's that? I didn't realize they were going to keep me on a coach for so long. All right. The motor coach rattles on through the hill and Silas lapses into silence. The sky darkens behind you, pinks tinting the clouds as the sun descends. Finally, a welcome sight comes into view. A settlement on the crest of a hill. This doesn't look like the pictures you've seen of Ossipee, but perhaps you can persuade Silas to stop while you stretch your legs. Minutes later, a harsh stuttering from the engine interrupts your reverie. Of course, the moment I change the sounds. Silas frowns and rattles the gear stick. The motor coach falters in its ascent. Silas utters a curse you don't recognize and grinds his teeth, struggling at the wheel. You seem to inch up the hill until you reach the first buildings, low dwellings constructed from rough red stone. Silas wrestles the coach into a small bay off the road. He scrambles from his seat and makes for the engine compartment. You must now choose to make a roll against Drive Auto or Psychology. If you choose Drive Auto, you need to roll equal to or less than the skill. If you choose Psychology, you need a hard success. This is a roll equal to or less than half that skill value. You may attempt only one skill roll. So, yeah, I did not take Drive, so, somebody's asking, it sounds like mowing the lawn to you, huh? Oh, okay. Well, it really doesn't exist at all now at this point, does it? Because the car's dead. So, and I'm about to get invaded. You gotta love this. So, 24. Hi, buddy. Sorry, bud. Go. Oh, I gotta love it. He messed up my roll. I'm not going to take the new one. But for psychology, 24, half mine was 30, so I actually passed a hard psychology test. So that sends me to entry 162. You sense a falseness to Silas's actions. He is acting. Either he is not aggravated about the breakdown as his behavior suggests, or perhaps the breakdown itself is an act. If this is a ruse to make you spend your time and money in a local shop, you will be sadly disappointed in your purchasing power. On your investigator sheet, checkmark the small box next to the word psychology. If you successfully completed this adventure, you will have the opportunity to learn from your experience with Silas. Oh, that's kind of cool. So, psychology passed. You know, this is a lot like how it runs. Ah, hey, we got 3 people in the chat now. We got Pappin. So, hey, thank you very much for coming and joining us. So, let's see. Now it sends me to entry 194. So 194. Here we go. Silas opens the engine compartment, opens and sticks his head inside. Oh, Silas opens... That sounded really awkward. I was like, what? Silas opens the engine compartment and sticks... Yeah, it literally says, Silas opens the engine compartment open. Sounds better when I say it that way. And sticks his head inside. The hot metal pops and sizzles. He pokes at various components, then withdraws and wipes his brow, smearing it with dark grease. I ain't sure what's wrong. Might be the oil pressure. Might be something knocked off kilter when we took that spill. Can't do much until the engine cools neither. And with the light failing, I reckon we'll be here through the night. He wipes his hands on a rag. The shadows from your surroundings are already long and the air is chilly. You feel stiff from the journey, and a night in the rickety coach sounds unappealing. Silas sees your dismay. This here's Emberhead. Miles from any place. I only come through twice a week. But the folks here are good people. May Ledbetter keeps a spare room. She'll look after you. Up that alley, turn right, first house on the left. He scratches his cheek, looks again into the engine compartment, and spits on the ground. Meet me back here at 8 in the morning, and we'll see how we stand. To look for May Ledbetter, go to 267. To ask Silas where he will spend the night, go to 251. And to challenge Silas about the breakdown, go to 257. So, let's see. Should I... Well, maybe I ought to ask the chat. Y'all think I ought to go ahead and just go to the bedding down place, ask Silas where he spent the night, or ask him about the breakdown, which we now know is fake? So I myself, I kind of lean towards pushing my luck with him. I mean, why not? Let's go ahead and just say, hey, yeah, what happened here at the breakdown? And chat seems to agree with me on that. So let's go with that. So entry 257. You confront Silas with your suspicions. His brow darkens and he shows a mouthful of twisted teeth. Ain't that just like you city types? He spits, thinking the worst of a man after he's gone out of his way to attend to your comfort. He stalks around to the back of the coach and hauls your bags from the rack, dumping them at the ground at your feet. Take them. Otherwise, I guess you'll be accusing me of thievery in the morning. He marches off in the darkness, raging. That could have gone better. Well, it could have gone better not having to crash in this city either. But hey, whatever. 267. You drag your cases between the sullen buildings. You feel surprisingly weary, considering you spent all day sitting down. Silas's directions lead you to a modest dwelling with a slate roof. A name reads Ledbetter, and underneath a sign with neat copper plate reads, Lodging Room. The lane around you is gloomy, but a lamp flickers in the window. A breeze chills your face. You're not about to begin your new life by sleeping in the street. You rap on the weather-beaten door. Go to page 4. So we're in a small little village now. Let's see what I got as far as sounds go with that. Of course, I'm probably about to walk into a building, right? So let's go with that. How about an hotel foyer, or an inn? Let's go inn. There we are. After a moment, you hear footsteps inside the house. A bolt is drawn back and the wood oak door swings open. A figure with loose curls and a rough-looking house dress peers at you. Her gaze takes in your traveling suit and your case. Her voice has a slight Irish lilt. Do not expect me to do an Irish voice. Hello. Should I take it as you're looking for a room for the night? You inquire as to her rates, suppressing a grimace. As far as you've seen, the village does not offer you many alternatives. Oh, you'll find them very reasonable, she says. You look tired. I'm May. Come inside and we'll talk over a cup of tea. The Ledbetter house feels cramped, with a low ceiling and simple fittings. But it is well kept and a cheerful fire crackles in the grate. The aroma of the tea is soothing and the cup warms your fingers. Have you come to Emberhead for the festival? Asks May. Oh, that's great. That's just lovely. I mean, is anybody else not thrilled to hear? I'm in a H.P. Lovecraft story, and there's going to be a festival. I just want to start screaming like Nicolas Cage. Please. So, to explain what happened with Silas and the couch, go to 14. To ask about the festival, go to 21. Let's ask about that festival. So, entry 21. Ask if she'll be my date, right. We'll see if that happens. So, well now, I suppose the festival is about the only reason folks come to Emberhead. I thought you had maybe come to study it or take photographs. Well, it's not tomorrow night, but the night after. I suppose it looks very strange to a passerby. May tops up your tea. Spout clinks against your cup. We've got the beacon, you see. One night every year there's a torch-lit procession and we light the beacons on the cliffs. You've never seen the like of it. They say it keeps the spirit of the village alive for another year. Celebration. Celebration. She trails off for a moment and blinks. But you didn't come here to listen to me blather, and you must be hungry. I can rustle you up a bit of stew. How would that be? You ask again about her rates, and May names a price so low you accept it without hesitation. The room is small but comfortable, and the stew dark and hearty. After dinner, you have a couple of hours before your usual bedtime. To talk to May some more, go to 31. To walk around and get your bearings, 75. Or turn in for the night, go to 63. You know, chat wanted me to ask her to be my date. Let's go talk to her. May talks about life in Emberhead. In her letters, my sister always asks if I'm not bored living in such a small place. She lives in New York. Then she writes about how frightened she is to walk home at night, I ask you. You mention your hopes for a new life in Arkham. May doesn't seem to hear you. It's a small place here, yes, but that means we have real community. Everybody's face is known. Everybody works together. Nobody is excluded, except those who choose to exclude themselves, of course. I couldn't live anywhere else now. Ooh. Make a charm roll. If you succeed, go to 39, and if you fail, go to 51. Well, my charm, did I even take charm? I did not take charm. I took persuade, so let's see. Charm is going to be a 15. And that is a 69, so I failed. As the hour wears on, you are amused to hear May transform into a sort of tired tourist guide. Of course, the views from here are spectacular on a good day. A clear view all the way round. If you're a painter, you'll be right at home. If you taste run more to the artisan, there are workshops on Salisbury Street. Just at the end here and turn right. They're not set up for visitors, you understand. But you'll see the real craftsman at work. A genuine article. Now, if you're looking for freshly baked bread, it seems a shame to point out that you intend to be on the road again shortly. You let May continue until she begins to yawn. Would you listen to me yapping? Time to turn in. When would you like your breakfast? Now to go to page 63. As May stands, you hear a clunk behind you. You look over your shoulder, but all you can see is a wooden door, securely closed. May tuts. The young lady of the house. Shall I have been listening to us? Ruth, come and greet our guest. There's a short pause, then the door creaks open. Two wide eyes peer at you from the gap, between tousled hair and a rough nightgown. What do you say? The eyes blink. Pleased to meet you. Now get back to bed. The door closes again. My daughter Ruth. 10 years this summer. She's a delight and a torment all in one. Don't worry. She sleeps in with me. She'll not disturb you. Good night now. You retire to your room. It's a little chilly, but you are too tired to worry about lighting the fire. The sheets are clean and the bed soon warms up. The silence outside is strange after living in a town for so long, but you soon drop off. Good 154. You dream of fire in the grate, coruscating colors shimmering through dancing tongues of flame. At first they are tiny, almost microscopic. They grow and grow, till a kaleidoscopic inferno spills from the fireplace, spreading across the floor, up the sheets. You wake with a start. Daylight glints through the curtain. You get up and examine the grate, blinking to sleep from your eyes. It is quite cold. If you have taken any damage, you may heal 1 hit point from your night's sleep. Of course. My chat is saying that she's a demon for the child and slay the child. Come on. I have my own suspicions. I'm getting a very, I don't know, culty vibe already. What am I playing? So, 166. May seems to have no running water, but has supplied some in a ceramic jug. You freshen up at the washstand and go in. She cooks a hearty breakfast and leaves you in peace to eat. At about 7:30, you are paid up, packed, and ready to go. You bid May goodbye, and she wishes you the best for your new career in Arkham. If you succeeded at a skill roll last night and wish to investigate the results further, go to 178. Otherwise, go to 192. And I didn't. I did not succeed, so we're going to go. Oh, hey, there we go. We got Sean in chat too now. Thanks, guys. Appreciate y'all coming out. All right. 192. You are already tired of your heavy bags. Hopefully Silas has repaired the motor coach and you can resume your long journey. A sourpuss he might be, but the old driver seems to understand his vehicle well enough. You pause to check your watch and still 20 minutes early and around the final corner. The motor coach is gone. Of course it is. You put down your bags and search the area, trekking up and down slopes and around corners. At the edge of the village, you trace the long road back as it winds across the hills. 8 o'clock comes and goes. There is no coach to be seen. Passing a villager notices your bags. Looking for the bus? I heard him take off at first light. He's due back in 3 or 4 days. Need a place to stay? May Ledbetter rents a room. The man raises his hat to you and strolls on into the village. You curse Silas under your breath. Perhaps he went for parts. But you wonder if the old goat has stranded you here on purpose. Go to page 218. On page 218, May is doing laundry and looks surprised to see you again. Forgot something? When you explain the situation, she offers to store your bags while you try to arrange alternative transport. You are grateful to relinquish the load. Nobody here has anything like a car. She strokes her chin and narrows her eyes. Maybe you can find somebody with a horse and a cart for your bags. I could ask around later. Try Mr. Winters at the village hall. He'll know if anyone will. Or ask among the artisans. Their workshops are first left on Salisbury Street. She reaches over and squeezes your wrist. Don't worry. I won't see you sleeping in the streets, money or no money. You thank May and turn to face the village. Go to page 6. You wander the streets of Emberhead without any particular destination in mind. The village is built on a relatively flat upland with splendid views. To the north, the hazy tip of the White Mountains reach for the heavens. To the south, sparkling waters of Lake Winnipesaukee touch the horizon. The village itself takes less than 5 minutes to cross from edge to edge. You arrive on the winding road of the west. The only other road leads to the south, following a lower ridge of land as it turns east. In the southwest of the village, an open grassy space borders a ruined church, its graveyard cresting the cliffs. To the northeast, the 3 main thoroughfares meet at a raised black metal structure. It looms stark against the blue sky. You may now ask about transportation at the local general store, seek out Village Hall, or walk down to the lower level and check out the eastern road. There are other choices. We also can examine the large metal structure, explore the church, or look for local people with their own transport needs. Yeah, I know. I'm horribly white and terribly incapable of pronouncing some of these words. I'm so sorry. But somebody says, go to Village Hall. Don't worry about the crazy black structure on the hill that might cause you to go insane. I agree. The Village Hall backs against a cliff at the east end of Salisbury Street. It's the largest building you see so far in Emberhead. It is, however, locked and shuttered. You walk around it, peering through the gaps in the shutters. There seems to be one large room, presumably for community meetings, and a smaller annex which serves as an office and archive. One of the windows is bricked up. Back of the main door, you can see no postings for opening hours. Mr. Winters doesn't open up mornings this time of year, says a gray-garbed woman passing by. Best come back this afternoon. You ask whether the office has a telegraph. Don't know, she shrugs. Who would we call? You will have to try again later. Go to 25. You're beginning to get your bearings, Numberhead. Would you like to explore some more? So you may choose other options below. Ask about transportation at general store. Seek out the village hall, which we just did, I think. Or was that City Hall? Walk down to the lower levels and check out the eastern road. Examine the large metal structure. Explore the church. Or look for local people with their own transport needs. So, exploring more, chat says. General store. Okay. So, going to the general store, There we go, number 16. So, with the general store. And let's go ahead and change up where we are in town. This is, let's go for Plaza. I bet that sounds about right. There we go. So, the general store is on a corner beside the main road, just before it plunges to the south. The shopkeeper is a brisk, immense lady with a starched apron and strong shoulders. She looks hard at your unfamiliar face. Transport? There's a motor coach comes through twice a week. Missed it? Truck brings in my supplies every second Tuesday, but he's not due until next week. She shrugs. Seems Umberhead is content to keep its distance from the outside world. You have enough money to buy one or two inexpensive everyday items here. Note them down on your investigator sheet. Remember the year is 1927. The shop stocks no weapons except a dusty hunting knife, which you may purchase if you want. Then go to 25. I think I'm getting a hunting knife. Now, of course, the nice thing is with the Call of Cthulhu setting is that that knife will work with the fighting brawl skill. And that I'm very, very happy with that fact. So knives and brawls, yay. And of course, knives are for stabbing. So, here we go. Number 25. Oh, hey, we got David in chat, too. Thank you so much for coming in, David. So, you're beginning to get your bearings in Emberhead. Would you like to explore some more? Oh, and it does say in there, once you've tried 4 options, or if you're ready to move on, we can go to number 3. So far, we've gone to the hall and the general store. What do y'all think? Do we want to explore the church or look for local townspeople? You know, I'm just an out-of-towner carrying my suitcase and a knife. There's nothing dangerous about me. Oh, go to the church. Yeah. So we'll go to the church. Nothing bad ever happens in churches. Okay. Find Jesus. It's the 1920s. Was he around? So, you cross the street towards the church. As you glance to your left, your gaze alights on the large metal structure. Something bothers you about its positioning. You back up and look again. Yes, Emberhead's central thoroughfare points directly at the structure. This seems too precise to be a coincidence. You press on and drawn into the shadow of the church. The building is in a sorry state. The top of the steeple is missing, a ragged gash of splintered boards marking its absence, and the floors beneath it have collapsed. It appears to have torn through the roof to the main building as it fell. Only the back half is still intact. The white paint which once covered the church has yellowed and peeled. It seems safe enough to explore the rear section. Old pews are stacked against the wall, choked with mildew. Most of the windows are broken. You guess this church has been disused for about 20 years. There's little more to interest you. Make a ride roll. You may have a bonus die roll the 10s twice. If you succeed, go to 46. Interesting. I'm guessing that I'm about to go for a ride. So if I succeed, go to 46. Otherwise, go to 25. So ride, I did not take. And that is a 5% chance. So there we go. Golly, that's not too far off. But the thing is that it's a 17. And even if I re-roll the 10s dice, you know, even if I re-roll that, that's not 5%. So 77, second roll. So I failed. Number 25. Oh, which is back out into the real world. So we are, this is a, if we do another exploration, this is the last, I wish I had thought of that. Somebody just asked if I could use luck. And yeah, I could have. Technically, this game is luck is a thing, and that's an interesting thing to point out because essentially you can use the points in your luck to lower your roll. And I had rolled a 17, so it would have cost me 12 points of luck to be successful in that last scene. That would have been nice. That would have been nice. But you know, hey, these are the small things that they sometimes fail to remind you, and I fail to think about. So, thank you, Matt. That was Roxy. Yeah. So yeah, but I've already moved back out there. Let's go ahead and let's go check out that structure, the large metal structure. So that's going to be number 57. So you walk up the approach, the most central of the village's major streets. It points directly at the odd metal structure. As you emerge from the shade of the nearby buildings, you're greeted by a magnificent panorama spread from the north to the southeast. The last colors of fall tint the hills a sleepy gold. The structure, by contrast, is made from uncompromising iron, singed black. It supports an immense curved platform at the level of your head. Further struts snake up to a central point. Looks like they may have been some kind of sculpture at one time, but now they are twisted and melted beyond recognition. An older gentleman passes, looking up at you with rheumy eyes. "Are you here for the festival?" he asks. "That's the beacon. When they light it night after next, you'll be able to see it 10 miles away." He gives a little nod of satisfaction, then moves on, leaning on his walking stick. You notice bundles of wood tied and stacked against the buildings nearby. Perhaps this festival would be an interesting diversion, but you really must head to Arkham as soon as possible. Make a spot hidden roll. If you succeed, go to 69. Otherwise, go to 25. So, hey, we get a spot hidden, and yes, I did not take that skill. So, 25% chance of passing. That's a 34. So, I could spend luck, right? I could spend luck 9 points and get it down to the spot hidden. What do y'all think? Y'all think I ought to go ahead and spend that 9 points? I'm saying yeah. Anybody want to say no? Don't do it. You're going to see Cthulhu's eyes and go crazy for it? Let's do it. So we're going to go 69, my base, or so 61, my base was 70. So we're going to say yes, I just succeeded that. Number, entry 69. As you walk away from the iron structure, you notice something strange about the construction of the village. All of the wooden dwellings are concentrated in the west and southwest. To the east and northeast, closest to the beacon, the buildings are formed from dark brick and clay. Does this mean the settlement began at the beacon and spread west? You may also mark the box next to spot hidden skill. So there we go. I could start putting points in it. Yay! Or I could try to. You know how that works. Maybe. So go to entry 25, which I think is exploring Emberhead. We've now done our 4 attempts, so now we have to move on. We're on to entry number 3. They haven't, so they've asked, Chad asked, why, did they say why they started lighting this huge beacon? They haven't yet. You know, it's one of those things that I think would be a interesting point of knowledge, and I think they're withholding it on purpose. I'm this like, yeah, it's a cult, Nicolas Cage, Run for Your Life. You know, but that's just me. What do I know? It's not like the dream was, you know, not at all a little bit unnerving to have. So, your morning exertions have left you hungry. You roam the streets of Emberhead looking for sustenance. There is nothing resembling the busy cafes of your hometown, or anything that might be called a restaurant. It is beginning to look like you will have to get supplies from the general store when May Ledbetter comes down the street with a girl trailing in her wake. This must be Ruth. As she notices you, she races past her mother and approaches you with a smile. This is a different Ruth from the shy creature of last night. As she reaches you, she stops and stretches her arms up in celebration. She looks into your eyes. Abruptly, the smile drops from her face and she looks several years older. Get out before the festival, she hisses. Get out! She blinks hard, then scuttles back towards her mother. May approaches, wrapping an arm around her daughter's shoulder. She smiles. How are you getting on? Have you found transport? Startled, you explain the frustrations of this situation. I try Mr. Winters in the village hall. He's always in of an afternoon. You'll be hungry by now. Help yourself to any food in the house. The door's not locked. You glance at Ruth, where she has squirreled herself behind her mother's leg. Her eyes implore you to silence. You ask Ruth about what she said, go to 9. If you ask May about what Ruth said, go to 15. And if you say nothing, go to 22. Chess says, use the knife! I should. But no, I'm actually going to say nothing. Little scary girl who from the Akira movie has just told me, you know, to give me a dire warning. So let's go with that. I'm gonna play along. So number 22. You take your leave of the Ledbetters and head towards their house. The door opens easily. In the low kitchen, you make a meal from stodgy bread and leftover stew. The little window offers a view to the mountains. If you learned one thing this morning, it was that Emberhead streets hold little to occupy the visitor from out of town. But there's still about 5 hours of daylight remaining. You could take some provisions and the bare essentials from your luggage and set out in hope of reaching another settlement before dark. Or you could ask advice from this Mr. Winters. Oh, somebody thinks that they're going to fatten me up for the Scarecrow God. You know, that is essentially, yeah. I mean, how many movies is that the plot line to of, oh, here's a village. And the people are backwards and worshiping something evil. And the church is in disrepair. You should know something's up. Yeah. But I don't know. The smart player in me says get out of town, but the person who's kind of interested in this story is like, let's just go to Village Hall. So yeah, let's go Village Hall. Here we go. The Village Hall overlooks the lower north ridge of the village. You walk along Salisbury Street to find it, conscious of the oppressive black metal structure framed at the end of the road. The shutters of the hall are open and some windows lift ajar. There's no knocker, but a little bell over the entrance tinkles as you push the front door. Yeah, I'm a kid. I can laugh at tinkles. Inside, a sturdy door to your room is marked private. To your left, an opening leads through to a bright room. You take a few steps inside. Benches line the walls, and there are 2 notice boards mounted between the windows. To examine the notice boards, go to 17, or to knock on the closed door, go to 24. And of course, my listeners are not laughing at tinkles; they're laughing at knockers. So, all right, I want to see the notice boards. The floorboards creak beneath you as you cross the room. You feel a slight spring in your step. Perhaps this room is used as a gymnasium for their village children. One notice board appears to be for the adults of the community, and one for the children. Now that's kind of interesting. The former looks neglected, featuring handwritten advertisement for household items and a yellowed note about telegraph pricing. There is nothing about the festival. The children's notice board has a schedule for weekly crochet services. I think that's what it says. And a number of paintings obviously done by the children themselves. Most are incoherent, though colorful. As best you can tell, they depict fireworks, perhaps the tale of Joseph from the book of Genesis. One has lost a pin and hangs upside down. It shows a giant bird attacking Emberhead. Or it might simply be that the artist has not yet mastered the subtleties of scale. Make a spot hidden roll. If you succeed, go to 30, and if you fail, go to 37. So, spot hidden, second time to roll it. Yeah, crochet, so Roxy, crochet, is that it? C-R-E-C-H-E? I mean, am I saying that right, or is this a... Oh, nurse... Creche is what nursery is called in England. Thank you. I had no idea. We've learned something new tonight. Alright, so spot hidden. And I fail miserably with a 93. So, fail, go to 37. The door scrapes behind you. A middle-aged, bespectacled gentleman appears in the doorway. May I help you? You explain you are visiting on May Ledbetter's recommendation. Ah, well, I'm Clyde Winters. I'm not sure I can help you, but would you care for some coffee? I'm partial to a cup in the afternoon. He gestures to the open door behind him. This seems like a worthwhile opportunity, and you are a little thirsty. Go to 43. You step through the door marked private. The other side of the village hall is marked contrast to the public space. The room is compact, lined with shelves and books and file alcoves. One corner reserved for a tiny pantry and what is presumed a water closet. You study Mr. Winter as he fills the percolator. Although thin on top, his hair is oily and neatly swept back. His suit is a sober affair and well tailored, even if the cut is a little old-fashioned. A lesser man working alone might have loosened his bow tie for comfort. On the desk side the opposite wall, you notice what looks like a telegraph set. To ask about the telegraph immediately, go to 56. Or to make small talk with Mr. Winters, go to 49. I want to ask about the telegraph. I mean, I didn't get out of town when I had the opportunity. I at least want somebody to know. Oh, you want me to be cool. You want small talk. Oh. Can't be too eager. Okay. Okay, I'll make small talk. You know, you just want me to invite him to the festival, don't you? The pot begins to gurgle as you exchange pleasantries with Winters. Living here? It's a trade-off, like so much in life. He looks past you at a high shelf. I could wish for access to a proper library, of course. But I know myself well enough. I'm strictly a dabbler, and the city's... His face wrinkles in distaste. Too many people. Everybody rushing and shouting. We have a special place here in Emberhead, and someone must accept responsibility for keeping it so. That was my father before me, and now the duty falls to me. He lifts his chin and straightens up. This evening, as the sun sets, look out at the landscape around the village. We have peace up here, halfway to the stars. Are we not privileged? Is this not worth the hardships we must accept? He looks at you speculatively. Seems like a good time to ask about the telegraph. Oh, yeah. The telegraph? Much as we value our isolation, we do need the link sometimes. You were hoping to send a message? I must apologize. Line's been down for 2 weeks. I reported the fault, but of course they're not speedy when a problem lies in a rural area. I'm expecting a repair the day after next. I do appreciate how frustrating this must be. The coach is due in 3 days? But I think he's going west. Perhaps you might engage a wagon. One of the farmers might. You explain that you have asked a few of the residents already, but to no avail. I tell you what, Winters pours you a steaming cup of coffee. The dark liquid smells rich and strong. When the repair crew arrives, I'll ask them to take him back with you. How would that be? They might want $1 or 2 to grease the wheels. The day after tomorrow? It's less than ideal, but it's the first real opportunity you had. To thank Winters and leave, go to 180, and to ask about his library, go to 62. So far, we're chatting him up, and he seems really good, and let's get some more information out of him. 62. You make small talk, but flattering remarks. You make a small but flattering remark about a couple of the volumes on his shelf. Winter blushes with pleasure. Well, of course, they're not my personal collection. They belong to the village. But I did select the most of the recent items. This is a community's library, you see. I put up the private sign to stop people from just wandering in from meetings in the other room. But this is really a public space. You scan the shelves. There is a sparse but respectable collection on mathematics and the sciences, passable section on history and arts, and a shelf of literature. He has a few lowbrow novels tucked away in a corner, with tatty copies of Bizarre Tales magazine. Quality does not always equate to popularity, I'm afraid. Winters gives you an apologetic smile. To take the time for research in the library, go to 68. And to leave while it's still light outside, go to 180. You know, I did take the library use skill, so let's go for it. Let's look at his library and do some use. So number 68. Winters is happy for you to spend the rest of the afternoon and study, and offers you an upright but comfortable chair. You have enough time to pursue one line of research in depth. So, things that I can look up. History of the area. The festival. To read something from the sciences, or to read some of the weird fiction. You know, it's a hard question, because history of the area might tell you a little bit of what's going on. Maybe a little bit of what that structure is on top of the hill. You know, the festival at the same time, I could find out maybe if I'm about to be human sacrifice, and that's why they want me to stay. I don't know. Reading something from the sciences, I figure just might boost me for a later test. I'm not really interested. In weird fiction, wouldn't it be great to pick up the weird fiction and it be my own tale in it? But right now I've got one person saying history, one person saying weird fiction. I'm going to roll a dice, and we'll go for odds are going to be odd history, even will be wild fiction. So let's see what we get. I rolled a 2. 2. See? 2. So that means even. We're going to read ourselves some weird fiction. Winters raises an eyebrow when you settle down with the tatty magazine but says nothing. The stories in Bizarre Tales are fanciful affairs of prisons in orbit, devils imprisoned middle-aged women, and mechanical spiders traveling between planes through radio waves. You become immersed in a science fiction story in which unfathomable stiltmen stride through a steaming swamp beneath the moon's surface. Sounds like home. Enthralled to floating mesmeric brains. The improbable, eerie tale amuses and relaxes you, and puts recent difficulties into context. If you've lost sanity, you may restore 1 point, and now go to 99. How would I... this is what I like about this format. I mean, one person said they really liked this. I think that was... Sean, you were saying that you really like this format, and I gotta agree. This is really interesting, because something obvious, it's pointing towards something happening in the story that I had no idea could have even occurred. So, as a player, I'm a little excited because I'm like, ooh, you could play through this and do your choices a little differently and get a different story. That's really neat. Who knows? Maybe I'll have another player on here sometime, sit down and do the story rather than me. So, number 99. The afternoon wears on. You have not quite finished your reading when Winters glances out the window and stands up. He clears his throat. Make a credit rating roll. If you succeed, go to 111, and if you fail, go to 105. Wow. A credit rating roll. I've never had this in any of the games for Call of Cthulhu. And I have a 20 in my credit rating because I'm a journalist. I rolled a 73. That's a failure. 105. I'm afraid I have some errands to run before dark, so I must close the library for today. I do hope you will return tomorrow afternoon if you are so inclined. You leave the building with Winters. Well, hello there. Waiting as he locks up, you thank him for his coffee and the access to the library. He disappears off down an alley. You hope to be away from the village before tomorrow afternoon, but it's good to know that there is a place you can occupy yourself. So now we're on to entry 180. As the light fades, you return to the Ledbetter house and eat a light supper. May is unusually taciturn. Ruth's eyes flick to yours several times during the meal. There is an urgency there you cannot quite interpret. Afterwards, May ushers the girl into their room. You've been in Emberhead for barely one whole day, and you already feel confined by it, both geographically and socially. The evening seems to offer little. So to do some stargazing, go to 131. To attempt to speak to Ruth, go to 138. If you have a previous appointment, again, a weird plot point popping up. This is the time to follow up on it. I don't have an appointment. I think I am going to go and attempt to speak to Ruth. Stargazing is fun. I did not take any astronomy or anything that would really benefit from that. So yeah. Oh. Try to talk to Ruth and Mom will let you. Stargaze is going to make you cray. Thanks. Yeah, no joke. So, let's go talk to Ruth. So 138. And let's change that music a little bit because it's night, isn't it? And we are definitely not in a town that has any roads. I have noticed that. So let's go to the village maybe. Village at night. Yep, there we go. Right. Where was I? Where was I? It was 138. Yeah, 138 to go talk to her. In time, May returns to the kitchen and busies herself clearing up. To speak to Ruth, you will need to get May to leave for a short while. You help with the dishes and try to think of some ruse. In time, an idea comes, and you ask about Silas and his friend in the village. May narrows her eyes. He knows Troy on the other side of town, she says. Not sure I'd call them friends. More like an old feuding couple. But he probably spent last night at Troy's place. You ask May if she could visit Troy and ask if Silas mentioned any plans to return. May looks dubious. Right now, she asks. Without looking at your investigator sheet, decide how best to influence May. By appealing to her emotions, by explaining her, how further delay threatens your career, or by trying to rush her into a compliance. Then make a charm, persuade, or fast talk. Oh, I mean, I am, of course, going to persuade her. After all, that is my best skill. So I'm going to say I'm convincing her that I'd even be willing to pay her for it. I just need to get out of town. So we're going to go with persuade. It's a 70. That is a 27, so that is a hard success. The paper actually is going to... Is that a hard success? No, that was just a regular... No, it was a hard success. Okay, sorry. I should know better. So if you succeed, go to 145. So we now have the opportunity to go to 145. Well, I suppose it'll only take a few minutes. May fetches her coat and heads out into the night. You give her time to get clear, then rap on the bedroom door. Nothing comes but silence. Then feet pad across the floor and the door opens a few inches. Ruth's eyes stare out through the gap, glancing from left to right. You explain her mother has left the house and ask what has been bothering her. Those eyes flick up to stare at you. It's tomorrow, she whispers. Same as every year. They took my dad. They'll take you if you let them. The conviction in her eyes is chilling. You press her. Who is she talking about? All of them. Every one. They've been watching since you got here. You're marked. Her voice is hollow. 1 year. When I'm older, they'll take me. Dang. You hear footsteps approaching from outside. Ruth's eyes flash and the bedroom door slams. You turn back to drying dishes. May enters and removes her coat. That man is a waste of time, she hisses and heads through to the bedroom. You may checkmark the small box next to the skill you use. Well, I've already, so persuade, yes. Now go to 157. The familiar surroundings of your guest room are becoming constrictive. The neat bed, small wardrobe, and dressing mirror have the feel of a prison cell about them. What are you still doing here in Emberhead? Your new life is elsewhere. You lie on the bed and stare at the small crack in the ceiling. You turn over the day's events, thinking through the little details you spotted. You are certainly weary from the elevation and the fresh air, but do you still feel safe here? You've let yourself fall asleep. Go to 224. If you stay awake, go to 230. After what she said to me and talking to Ruth, there is no way I think I feel safe. I think a lot would be going through my mind, and yeah, I'm staying awake. Ooh, but... So, sleep presses down on you. You blink it back and sit up, trying to think through your situation. Everything in Emberhead seems to be working to stop you leaving. Perhaps the answer is to strike out at first light, to walk as far and as fast as you can. You can always return for your possessions. If you lose them, you have nothing so precious that cannot be replaced. A tiny creak draws your attention to the other side of the room. Slowly, almost silently, the doorknob is turning. Okay, so now we're getting something interesting. To grab it and wrench the door open, go to 248. To pretend to be asleep, go to 254. Somebody coming into my room at night. I'm also going to say I still have my knife on me. But I'm not going to sit here and lay here with a whole bunch of guys coming in to tie me down to a bed or whatever, and set me on fire. I don't know. Yeah, no, I am going to go and wrench the door open. So 248. You heave the door open, ready for confrontation. May stands on the other side, wrapped in her bed jacket. She steps back in alarm. You seemed not yourself, she stammered. I wanted to check up on you. You assure May you are in fine health and watch as she returns to her own bedroom. Once the door is closed, you borrow a kitchen chair to wedge under your door handle. Perhaps this piece of fortification will permit you a few hours of restful sleep. Go to page 58. Ooh. You awaken to the sound of feet in the street outside. Your night's rest has brought a new determination. Today, you will meet Emberhead on your own terms, so night is over. May restore 1 hit point if you've been wounded. Go to page 64. The Ledbetter kitchen is empty, although bread and eggs have been laid out for your breakfast. There is a note from May explaining that she has taken Ruth out for a few hours. If you were involved in a fight in the village last night and want to investigate the aftermath, go to 70. I was not in a fight, so I'm going to 78. You make a quiet circuit of the village, pausing in unobtrusive places to watch the villagers. It is rather busy for this time in the morning. Yawning locals stream back and forth along the road, carrying bundles of split logs, the site of what you've heard referred to as the beacon. You see 2 figures already up in the superstructure arranging the wood. The festival bonfire will be most impressive, but do you intend to stay to see it? You suspect by now that something is amiss here. While the villagers are distracted, you may do some illicit investigation, or you may simply leave town without looking back. Dang. This is really kind of a hard question for me, because, I mean, maybe I am the target for something horrible that's about to happen. But now it's kind of in my mind that if I leave, it's going to be the girl. Maybe they're going to target her, and that kind of weighs on you a little bit for your decision. I don't know, but this is our first time through this adventure, and we might come back to it. I'm really thinking about doing the flee option, though. I mean, we can always come back and replay this one. Chaosium has about 3 or 4. I think it's 3. So there's Alone Against the Flames, Alone Against the Frost, and Alone Against something nefarious. So far, I've got people saying, do some illicit investigation. Of course, Steven, maybe she deserved it. You don't know that girl. Also, they may come and get you. You're assuming fleeing ends it. I am making a pretty big assumption there. You're right. And that's a hard call, though. I mean, honestly. Oh, that's so tough. So tough. We'll go ahead and we'll do some investigation. Oh, great. Now I'm getting flee, fly, you fools. Okay. We're getting pretty far on in the evening for this game. I've only got about 25 minutes left that I was going to stream this. And so let's go ahead and do the flee option. Like I said, we can always come back. And maybe I'm going to stick one of y'all in this chair. And you can come and try out this mission for the channel yourselves. How's that sound? So yeah, let's go to fleeing down the road. Aha. As you approach the southern road that descends to the lower ridge, you see 4 villagers blocking the route with farm tools and clubs. You veer off and head toward the west road. Your heart sinks as you see exactly the same scene at the other exit from the village. You are trapped. To try and talk your way past the guard groups, go to 119. Or to try and slip past in disguise, go to 125. Or do you know another way out of the village? I'm a persuader. Let's go talk to the guards. Right? Worst that can happen is I'm barbecue. Knife. Yeah, knife is a great way to talk. The southern group appears less sharp than the western group. You stride up to them and explain they are needed at the beacon. They look dubious. You offer to watch the road for them and hold out your hand for a pitchfork. Nah, you come with us, says the first one. His ape-like brow bends into a frown. Make an extreme fast talk roll. Is the roll equal to or less than 1/5 of the skill value? I don't have any points in fast talk. My fast talk is a 5, therefore I would have to roll a 1 to be successful. So we know I'm going to fail. Please, please, please. I will use luck. I got plenty of luck. Okay, guys. That's a 91. There is not enough luck in the world not to have to go and do this. So 139. These locals are not as stupid as you think. They grab you and march you back to the center of the village. Go to 109, 108. Well, the fading light from a narrow window tells you afternoon is giving way to evening. Your hands are shackled behind your back so you cannot even lie down on the rough bed. A woman you have not seen before comes in. Her face is wrinkled and her eyes dull. They do not meet yours, but she puts a cup to your lips. To accept the drink, go to 104. To reject it, 113. I ain't drinking that. You can let me go. You turn your face away, and when she tries again, you dash the cup from her hands using the side of your head. The clear liquid spills across the floor. The woman gives you a half shrug and turns to leave the room. You shout after her, but she gives no reaction. You soon become thirsty. 205. As light fades outside your little prison, you can hear much activity around the building. Ooh, so we're back into the evening. The only comfortable position is the shackles seem to sit against the end of your bed with your hands hanging behind you. You need to concentrate and come up with a plan. There's clearly no escape from your bonds. You do not know exactly what your captors want from you. You cannot ignore the fact that they have spent the entire day constructing a massive bonfire. Well, no kidding. The door scrapes and wrenches you back into the moment. Orange light spills into the house from blazing torches held at the threshold. Two large villagers step in and grab you. At least you assume they are villagers. They wear heavy black cloaks, and their faces and hands are painted entirely black, save only a red triangle centered on their left eye. You try to drag your legs, but you reach under your arms and lift your bodily. They reach under your arms and lift you bodily from your bed. Outside, it seems that the whole village has congregated to see you. Every single one has a blackened face with a red triangle motif. Torches sputter and spill fire. You struggle, but you can see physical resistance is hopeless. You are marched to Central Street and turned to face the beacon. Go to 117. The procession down the approach is slow and formal, save when you sense weakness and yank at your captors. A chill touches you when you see three human shapes carried ahead of you, draped in red cloth. The beacon looms larger and larger, its dreaded silhouette a black triangle pointing to the stars. A low drone begins among the cloaked figures. Unbidden, the word mourners comes to mind. Smoke from the torches make you cough. You feel heat on your face. As you reach the cleared area around the beacon, three dancers break from the pack. Young girls swinging balls of fire in spectacular arcs, drawing circles in the night air. One by one, they draw close to you and touch your forehead with sooty fingers. Each kisses you 3 times, on their left cheek, the right cheek, and then your forehead. Then they whisper in your ear. The smell of kerosene fills your nostrils. Make an appearance roll. If you succeed, go to 10. If you fail, go to 148. So, my appearance is 70. I'm hopeful. I've had some bad rolls tonight. I succeed. That is a success. So 45, going to page 10. Through your sacrifice, the village will be reborn, says the first dancer. You pass from earth to air, for all our sakes, says the second. I've weakened the chains, says the third. Don't try to escape until the flames are high enough to hide you. You stare at the third dancer. In that inky visage, you clearly discern the frightened features of Ruth Ledbetter. Their dance weaves off and disappears behind the building. Go to 18. Yeah, you got a date for the festival. You feel bad about saying that now, don't you? Uh-huh. It's the girl. The girl that looks older beyond her years. As you arrive beneath the beacon, 10 villagers close in on you. Working with surprising coordination, they immobilize you and lift you from the blackened iron stair to the raised platform. You cannot help but shiver at the sight of the central frameworks, twisted from past blazes, and what you can now clearly see to be fastening points for chain. None of the eyes meet yours as they lash you to the metal. The village now sings something rhythmic and ancient, carved from odd syllables. The second group ascends to the beacon, carrying the 3 red-draped bodies. With reverence, they arrange the burdens in a triangle around your feet. Then they withdraw, leaving you alone with the dead, shin deep in a sea of kindling. So, yeah, these are definitely bodies. Fun. I was like, are they knocked out? Are they drunk? Are they whatever? No, they're dead. It seems the entire village is gathered around the beacon to watch you burn. Behind the face paint, you recognize May Ledbetter and, yes, that of Silas the coach driver standing at her side. The audacity and scale of the deception staggers you. A man steps up on the dais and raises his hands with quiet authority. The frame of his spectacle obscures the red triangle on his face. So we draw here together again on this night, as we do each year, and we give thanks to the one who will preserve the village against the fire of the void. You will be taken by the ones from above in our stead. Your death will bring life to our streets and bounty to our fields. It will safeguard our children, our elders alike, for another year. We salute you. He bows his head. All around the beacon, bearers step forward and lift their torches to the edge of the platform. A ring of tiny flames flicker up around the perimeter. As they wink, the singing of the villagers drops into an unearthly rhythm. So to throw all of your remaining strength against the bonds, go to 44. To wait and see what happens, go to 40. So based on what she said wait until the flames are high enough that you can escape. So I don't think a ring of tiny flames is that yet. I think we need to wait and see what happens. I think the flames need to be bigger so we can get away. So entry number 40. The flames snake across the kindling, catching and rising. Smoke rises and it becomes difficult to see the villagers. The 3 bodies surrounding you catch fire, blazing with sooty red flames. You begin to cough as the smoke enters your lungs and fight down the urge to panic. If you have learnt a strange chant and wish to try it, this is the moment. Otherwise, go to 65. There's so much in this adventure that I did not get to see. It's kind of cool. So entry 65. Flames lick as you're at your legs. Your eyes water. You are shrouded in smoke. You are shrouded in smoke. It might be your imagination, but you think you can feel a slight give in your chains. You throw yourself against them, giving no thought to how they bite into your wrist. Take 1d6 hit points of damage from the fire. If this reduces you to 0, you collapse and are burned to death. The end. Otherwise, make a strength roll. If you succeed, go to 93. If you fail, 77. So let's roll a d6. Of course, I do have hit points to where I will live. I only take 2 points of damage. So I'm down from 9 to 7. All right. And then I need to make my strength check. Now, my strength is not terrible. It's not great either. So let's see if I succeed. I'm figuring this might be a back and forth thing to where I will have time to repeat the process and eventually try and break my bonds. So that is 87. I did not succeed the first time. So we're going to fail and go to 77. We're going to do this the right way. I'm not going to fake it. The chains give a little more. You feel that you could overcome them if only you had more time, but as you feel the flesh of your legs char, the fire spreads up your jacket and licks at your face, and you know you have run out of time. You have burned to death in the beacon. Aww. Well, that is the end of the mission then. Isn't that fun? Oh, I did not expect that, obviously. And I had fun with that. That is a really interesting mission. And, man, I'm, just thinking over it. So much that, was revealed that I didn't see. There's a chant. There is a greater amount of information that could have been learned. There were sanity checks that I didn't even do. Obviously, there's a fist fight that I didn't get to participate in. And so really depending on what you do with your character, there's a lot you can do with this mission. So I'm really impressed. I think this is a really neat format, and I'm looking forward to getting to more of these games. Yeah, so awesome. I really want to thank Chaosium for creating this and giving GMs. I mean, I know a lot of you are probably out there in a similar situation where a lot of times you don't get the opportunity to play. A lot of times you're the guy running the game. Now, recently I've had a wonderful amount of opportunities to play in games, so that's not really the case for me, but this is really cool. I think this is neat, and I'm looking forward to doing more of this show. So before I go, thank you all for coming into the chat tonight. Definitely want to say a huge thank you to our subscribers and to our followers. If you're following us and not subscribing yet, give it a thought. We're going to start doing a little bit more content and have a few more things up, and we'd love some support so that we can start doing this more often. Besides that, Thursday we are doing our special episode of Tokyo Brain Pop, which will have a few of our various actors from our various shows on it. I'm really looking forward to that. And again, next week on Thursday, I believe, is our next game of Star Trek for our Star Trek Adventures game called, I believe, Into the Stars. Ran by Matt Quiett and has both myself, Roxy, and Sean all as part of the cast of it. We really hope that you'll be able to come back and join us. And yeah. So thank y'all once again. And I guess that's it for tonight. See y'all later.